all day excelling, where I just throw everything I've ever done in my life into an Excel sheet. Today, we're going to be going over profit and loss reports. Because I love accounting, I love metrics, I love ROIs, right? Currently, I'm sitting in Hot Springs, Arkansas. So if you stay until the end of this video, you'll see some nice touring stuff. But for now, I'll do this for you. We're going to walk down that path here in a little bit. But stay tuned. Enjoy profit and loss explanations, and then beautiful scenery after that. Hello. So, like I said, if you stay until the end of the video, you can catch some glimpses of Hot Water Springs, where I'm kind of talking through the workaround. But I did want to show you some profit and loss reports for a variety of industries. So first we have a food industry, then we have a service industry, and then we have a consulting industry that I'm going to go over today. First, let's look at Bay Breeze Food. So you can see I've added some charts here, a bunch of charts here, and it does give warning labels. The reason I want to go over this is to show how important trend lines are, and not just looking at your profit and loss report from January to June, but also pulling up an individual month comparison so you can see the variances in your numbers. So you can see here we have a P&L performance trend where our revenue slowly going up. Our gross profit, though, goes up with our revenue, and then it drops down a little, and it doesn't run congruent with the line. And then your net profit drops even further down. So that tells me, my accountant brain says, something is wrong here for the cost of goods sold, and something is wrong here for the expenses. Because ideally, those two lines would be following along with this one. So let's take a look. So you have your total revenue, and you can see it escalating. So that seems to be growing nicely, unless something was coded kind of funky. But overall, it looks okay. Now, your cost of goods sold, it looks like we had large expenses here to here. So there's about $3,000 more with about $2,000 more dollars in revenue, right? And so from here to here, you have about $9,000 in cost of goods, but your total revenue only jumped up $3,000. So your gross profit actually drops. And then we go to labor and rent and these things. So your rent should basically stay the same. Utilities should more or less stay the same unless you have somebody leave lights on all throughout your office or what have you. But this looks a little suspicious to me. That seems to be a large jump compared. Why are we spending $2,000 more dollars on utilities when the sales jumped up $2,000 more dollars? And then your repairs and maintenance, it looks like there was a big repair or a maintenance thing that happened in April. ACs break, who knows? But these are things that a business owner should be looking at when they look at their profit and loss, not just the year to date to see how profitable they are. This is where you find how to better your systems and better your service. So your revenue mix, also super important to look at. You can see where most of your sales come from. So this is dine-in sales. You have your takeout and delivery. You've got catering, and then beverage and bar, right? So that's 5% of your people are sitting at the bar. It looks like you have a lot of dine-in, and then your 31% is takeout and delivery. So about 80% of your business comes in and out of your door. That 12% is catering specials. Cool. That's nice. That helps you plan. Maybe you hire a driver for your catering if you want that to go up. Highlight some marketing. And so because of our issues that we had in our P&L with the cost of goods sold food and beverage, which that could be an over order of supplies. We are going to go down to our net profit. So you can see in a pretty chart versus all these numbers where it drops, right? So you know your main issues are going to be in April or June. May looks a little suspicious, but it looks like it's trying to bounce back. You can see here your cost of goods sold, your gross profit should fall in line with your cost of goods sold, not going and touching it like that. And then revenue streams over time as a stacked. So you can kind of see how you get to that revenue. And your operating sales spikes. So when you're operating, you can see your repairs and maintenance jumped big in April. We had utilities slowly skyrocket up. And then marketing looks like it took a lot of more monetary effort as April hit. So again, these are all things that you can find looking at the profit and loss report. Now, AI is super good where whatever you give it, you can tell it, here's my profit and loss report from last year to this year, year to date. Give me an analysis on what I'm doing well at. Give me an analysis on what I need work on and how can I grow my company. And it might throw you something like this. It might tell you need to research because you have issues in here. It could be a variety of things, but that's kind of how the food industry works there. So let's go to a service industry. Breeze and Flow Plumbing. Now for Breeze and Flow Plumbing, they offer a couple of different streams of revenue. And you can see they made more in emergency services from April and May. Maybe septic tanks, who knows? New installations, commercial contracts, and residential repairs. And so again, we have the same thing here. These lines should follow along with each other. They shouldn't veer off. If your net profit is dropping, it's going to be in your cost of goods sold, in your expenses. If your gross profit is dropping, it's in your cost of goods sold. And then if your revenue spiking, you got to look at how the revenue is being coded. It looks like in June, sales kind of dropped. Your expenses for cost of good materials also dropped, which corresponds. And that's about the same here. That looks good. So you spend about 60,000 to 15,000, 70,000 is 20,000. That's a good ratio range. And gross profit, okay. So then you go down to your expenses and you can see, well, in the month of May, we did pay $5,000 more in labor. Looks like more trips were made, but that kind of makes sense with the emergency services. Same thing here. Your marketing, it looks like a lot of marketing efforts went in, maybe to land these commercial contracts and new installations, right? Which makes the residential repairs go up if you start advertising more because you're more on the consumer's mind when you're in their face. And it looks like a big equipment purchase happened here. So you can see this company was net negative, but net positive. So most of their repairs are residential. Nice little quote there. And then you have commercial contracts, which your commercial contracts are basically reoccurring revenue. They can only use you. You get to bill them whenever you come out. New installations and emergency services. Again, another revenue stream over time. You can see those marketing efforts helped. Your cost of goods sold versus gross profit does fall in line. It looks like it takes here. Materials, again, high material cost on this one, but then it drops right back down, about $18,000. And again, another little chart where it shows you April and May have dropped down on net profit, recover in June. And then another one, key expense spikes. So equipment purchases, if you know what you purchased, you're good to go. You don't really have to look at it. It can stay in line. It looks like marketing is also on there. Marketing efforts grew. And then because sales went up, labor went up, which is what we want. So again, various ways that you can look at a profit and loss report. I'm pretty sure QuickBooks Dashboard does this, but even if it doesn't, if you can create a profit and loss report or know how to pull your numbers, you can get Excel, like I said, Excel your business, to populate this for you as long as you have the numbers to justify. Let's go to our consulting company. Now, consulting is a service-based. Your direct cost is subcontractors, and that's your cost of goods sold. Technically, you got to pay your subcontractors in order to get the work, and so there's where your gross profit lies. So here, strategy retainers, implementation projects, advisory workshops, and data and analytics. This is what it brings in. Here's the total revenue for them. Again, we have the same kind of issue where the revenue line goes up, our gross profit goes with it, but it looks like the month of May it drops. And then it looks like the net profit goes up. And then March, it slowly goes down. So something happened with our expenses for the net profit and something with cost of goods sold here. So here you got either an expensive subcontractor or a mistype. That would be the two things that I would look for. But other than that, everything else looks pretty on par with a consulting group. You have your consultant payrolls. These are your hourly employees. Fairly good. Your sales go up, a little more is spent. Now your travel and client costs. This is what you do to meet with a client and to adhere to all the things that they need. You need to look at what happened here. Was this a travel thing? Was there an overcharge? That is quite a large difference. That needs dissection. And then your software and data, unless this is a yearly fee, I can't see why it would jump up by $10,000. That's a red flag. Office and insurance stays the same. Now your marketing, here it takes a big dump down, and it doesn't look like there's sales to justify that. Possibly, maybe, but it does look like total revenue from here to here is up about 5,000. And there's 2,000 of it. There's 1,000 of it. There's another 1,000 of it. So maybe there was marketing efforts, but is that 26,000 justifiable to the total revenue? So that's another thing you're looking at when you see a P&L. So maybe they did spend $26,000 on marketing. Are they getting the revenue in to justify the marketing metrics, which in a later YouTube video, I'll go into that. Let's look at the pretty sheets. I will make animated noises as I click buttons because I like animation and I'm very expressive. Okay, so we did look at the performance trend. We have our revenue mix. Clearly, they're killing it in strategy retainers and implementation projects. We reviewed why it dropped down in June, and direct cost versus gross profit should not do that. Again, should fall in line with it. You should not make a pretty arrow. Consulting expense spikes. So this is your expense stuff. You can see it heightened here for marketing. You can see it heightened here for your software. And revenue streams over time. So I even had Copilot go into and do these little metric things. So again, super important to review your profit and loss report. Again, I know QuickBooks does it for you, but if you can create the numbers in the P&L, you don't technically need QuickBooks for that. Now, If you would like any bookkeeping or accounting, payroll help, go to my website, jkinaccountingpayroll.com. You can check me out on YouTube. You can like, comment, share, subscribe this video if you liked it. I definitely do love constructive feedback to make these better. It helps if there's a group involved. More than one brain is useful. Again, I want to stress, if you are a new business owner, it is beneficial to do a month-to-month comparison for your profit and loss. If you are a seasoned business owner, do a month-to-month comparison, a quarter comparison, and then do quarter comparisons for the year, at least 3 years prior. And that will allow you to get a good revenue trend line for what your company is doing, how the economy is working, how they're responding to advertisement that's already out there. All of that is beneficial. And other than that, I hope you guys enjoy my tour of Hot Springs, Arkansas. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Enjoy! I hope you enjoyed the video. If you need any accounting or bookkeeping help, reach out, jkaccountingandpayroll.com. You can text me, you can email me, like, share, comment, subscribe on the YouTube video if you found it helpful. I like feedback. If you ever are in Hot Springs, Arizona or around it, definitely take a stop because it's so beautiful. Be outdoors, do all the things that set your soul on fire, because you can find some pretty amazing things if you just open your eyes